Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on The Very Odd Parents. Now, I'm sorry it's been some time because I've had a bit of a bad throat, but I've used a kind of technique that's made it a bit better now. And the fact that I'm now going to be doing a review on the final year of 2017. So let's do Very Odd Parents. Now, Very Odd Parents is a show I remember watching as a kid. The premise of the show is about young Timmy Turner, who lives in his town called Dimsdale, where his parents, mum and dad, and they don't really have an actual name, always go to places, do things without him, and has to live in a miserable life with his babysitter, Vicky, voiced by Grey DeLisle, and also, one day, gets two fairy godparents, Cosmo, who is an idiot man-child, and Wanda, who is usually the voice of reason. Now, of course, Timmy has these fairy godparents, yet, as soon as he gets them, he seems to cause more trouble than they're worth, because the wishes he wishes for has a dangerous outcome or consequences that kind of come out wrong near the end. The wishes are technically like a monkey's paw, because anytime Timmy wishes something, the wishes don't turn out great, and they end up causing more trouble than they're worth. And yet you'd think Timmy would probably learn that using magic is a bit of a dumb idea. What's also interesting is that you have a book called The Rules, and yet some of the rules that were never written just never really came to anyone's mind. For example, when Timmy wished for it to be Christmas every day, it never came to the Fairy Council or anyone in a high seat of power to put that rule in there, just in case if any kid wished for it. Or, I don't know, or maybe so on. What's also interesting is that there are some people who are after Timmy, because there's a character called Crocker, who I can compare to Simon the Monster Hunter from Our Real Monsters, or mainly compare him to someone else, because anytime Crocker tries to find fairies or anything, it never works out, and it usually puts him in constant danger. What's also interesting is how we see Timmy Turner at the same time trying to put things back on right, yet he never does seem to learn from his mistakes. What's also interesting is that there are other sort of fairy godparents that kind of act like enforcers or so on, because you have Wanda's father, who owns a trash company. You have Jorgen von Strangle, a parody of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and acts like the head fairy, and at the same time voices a lot of disapproval about Timmy having fairy godparents, but he does show to care about Timmy in that. You also have Cupid, who's a fairy and can make people fall in love. Also, you got the Tooth Fairy, who's kind of Jorgen's wife, and also at the same time acts kind of like the motherly figure and kind of looks a bit like Wonder Woman. What's also interesting is later on in the show, there were new characters added in. In other words, it was kind of like the Cousin Oliver attempt. You had Poof, who is Cosmo and Wanda's child, who was born from a wish that was never put in. And Poof is actually an enjoyable character to have around. He kind of acts like the little brother to Timmy. Now, later on I felt that the show took really big turns that jumped the shark. For example, you had Sparky, who is Timmy's fairy dog, and Sparky is voiced by the same guy who voiced Snaptrap in Tough Puppy, who was later removed due to so much negative response. In other words, he was kind of like the Poochie character. And you had Chloe, who's the current character, who's kind of the Mary Sue, and she's kind of like the perfect version of Timmy, less selfish, hypocritical, uncaring, all that. Now, what's also interesting that we do see some of other Timmy's friends. For example, you have Chester, who lives in a trailer park with his father. You have AJ, who is the smart kid. Trixie Tane, who is Timmy's love interest. 2D, who's kind of like Vicky's younger sister. And also you've got loads of other characters in Dimsdale. Now, it's amazing how far this show has run. From 2001 to still going. I don't know if there's going to be a new season or not. Now, what's interesting is that the early seasons are better. The older ones kind of went too long. I think this is why I like Danny Phantom and Tough Puppy ending their shows with 50 or so episodes. Because I don't want to watch a show that goes too long. So, what I think of Furry Odd Parents, it is definitely still a good show. I give it a lot of credit, so a good thumbs up. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.